Hey, it's Kristen. Today I'm gonna help you make a cake out of a box that's gonna taste absolutely amazing.
Here's your list of ingredients that you will need. 1 cake mix, 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, 1/3 cup of melted butter, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 4 eggs, and 1 cup of milk. Here's your ingredients for the frosting. 1 2-pound bag of confectionery sugar, 2 capfuls of vanilla, 4 sticks of butter, 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream, and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Here's your list of supplies. 2 cake pans, parchment paper, not wax paper. You'll need a 1/3 cup and a cup, and a 1/4 cup. Scissors and a pen, some spray pan, a mixer, a couple cooling pans, and set your temperature to 350. Here's some optional supplies. A pastry bag and a frosting tip, and some sprinkles.
The first step you need to do is prepare your pans for your cake. And the best way for that is to line them with parchment paper, not wax paper. Wax paper sometimes tends to stick. The best way to do it is take your pan, trace it around, and simply cut it out. Okay, now we're just finishing cutting up our second circle. So now we have 2 circles. We're gonna spray our pan with Pam. Spray that first. Stick your paper in, flatten it down, like that, and spray it again. And don't skip this step. Okay, now I'm gonna show you how to make a cake mix taste like a bakery cake. First thing you're gonna need, obviously, is a cake mix, and the best way to make this taste better is to actually how you put your ingredients in your mixing bowl and adding just a few extra little things to make it great. So the first thing we're going to do is add in, the ingredients say 1/3 cup of vegetable oil. I am gonna add 1/3 cup of vegetable oil, but I'm also gonna add 1/3 cup of melted butter. So you're doubling the fat to this cake. Also, to get this to cream up a little bit, I'm gonna put 1 teaspoon of sugar in the mixing bowl, and we're gonna mix this up just to get the sugar kind of dissolved. The next thing we're gonna add are 4 eggs. The box calls for 3 eggs. We're gonna add 1 extra egg. One at a time. Okay. The next thing we're gonna do is put in half the box of cake mix. Half of that in there. And then we're gonna add milk instead of water. Half of the milk at this time. We'll add the rest of the cake mix. Okay. And honestly, any cake mix is gonna be fine. Steve, my husband, picked orange supreme, so that's what we're making today. But honestly, any kind will be perfectly fine if you keep this recipe of adding an egg and adding the butter. Now we're gonna add the rest of the milk. Okay, so we finished adding all of our milk and all of our ingredients, and we're gonna let this mix up for about 2 minutes. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes, and our cake mix has gotten nice and fluffy. So we're gonna get this mix into the pans, and we'll get it into the oven at 350 degrees for about 25 minutes, okay? Now we're gonna get this into the pan. Make sure you scrape down your bowl before you do it. Mix it up, make sure the bottom is really good. We're going to put these in our pans. These are 8-inch pans. You can do 9-inch pans if you need to. Okay, don't fill them too full because they will overflow. Just kind of smooth it out the best you can. Get it in the oven. Our cake is cooking. We're gonna make the frosting. Need 4 sticks of soft butter, not melted butter, not cold butter. Your mixing bowl. Now this is going to be a messy job. Once we start adding the confectionery sugar, it's going to be going everywhere. It just is what it is, okay? So the butter's all creamed up here. We're going to start adding an entire 2-pound bag of confectionery sugar. Now there's just no good way of doing this, so we're just going to do it. Okay, starting to get lots of clouds. It's getting messy, but we're getting there. Okay, so I've added about half the bag, and you can hear that the mixer is starting to have a hard time mixing it because it's getting really thick. We're going to be adding some whipping cream to this to make it a little fluffier. Now's a good time just to add a little bit. I put 1/4 cup of heavy cream, but we might not use it all, or we might use it all. We're not sure. Depends on the consistency of frosting you want. So I'm just going to add just a little bit, just to get this to loosen up a little bit so we can get the other half of the bag in here without it struggling too much. All incorporated. We are making a huge mess, but it is what it is. Okay, I've cleaned up all our powdered sugar. This has been mixing for about 3 minutes. It looks like a pretty good, decent texture. It still feels a little like butter. Add the rest of this 1/4 cup of heavy whipped cream. It's going to give it a little bit fluffier texture. Also, because we are using so much powdered sugar, we're going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt to cut down on that sugar. And lastly but not least is 2 cupfuls of vanilla. Now this is a frosting that you can flavor with any flavoring you want: lemon, orange, strawberry. I love almond. But since this is an orange cake, I'm just going to stick with vanilla. And we're going to whip this up for another 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, I think our frosting is done. It's been mixing for about 5 minutes. Still feels a little thick, but that's okay. It's still nice and fluffy. We're going to try it. Perfect taste. The salt really helps cut down on that sugar. Okay, now I want to show you that this has only been in the oven for about 20 minutes. I want to show you, like, when you see this wiggle like that, this is not at all done. You always take a toothpick in the middle and say, oh, is it done? If you can see that there's cake still on there, that means that still needs to go back in the oven. So we're going to put this in there for at least another 10 minutes. Okay, the cakes have been cooking for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to test it with my toothpick, and my toothpick has now come out clean. Another good way to tell if your cake is done is it starts pulling away from the pan, as you can see here. That means your cake is done. Okay, so we're going to let it sit here and cool for at least 10 minutes in its pan. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes, and we are now going to take these cakes out of the pan, take a knife, and just really go around the edge just to loosen it up. And then we're just going to flip it out. Look how easy that was. Paper's still on here. Okay, we'll do the next one. And then we're going to let this cool completely before refrosting. Do never put frosting on a hot cake, because that's not good. Okay guys, my cakes are now cooled, and we are going to now assemble this and frost it. I'm going to try to use all the tools that you will have at your house to be able to do this cake. So the first thing we're going to do is have a little plate, or I have like a little piece of cardboard here. We're just going to put a little piece of, just a little bit of frosting here so that your cake will stick. Put this right on here. There are the crumbs. Okay. And then we're going to just dollop a bunch of frosting on top. Okay, take your knife and just swoosh it around. Okay, now the last cake, what we're gonna do is we're going to flip it upside down so you have the nice flat top. Frost, make sure you get it on there as straight as possible. I'm not always very good at straighting things. So we're gonna do the same thing with this frosting. Big paw, put it on top, and then we're gonna work our way down. Kind of work it towards the sides, okay? And then, I don't know if I can show you how to do this really well. I'm gonna try my best. Yes. Just start working it all the way down. Okay, so if we start not having any frosting on the side, just kind of bring it from the top like this and just start working it down. Okay, I'm pretty much all the way around the cake. So now we're just going to take our knife and just kind of go around and clean it, straighten it up a little bit. Now, I don't want to put this frosting back in my clean frosting because there's quite a lot of crumbs. So I'm going to put my crumb frosting in a separate bowl here. Okay? Because we're going to go around this one more time with some more frosting. This is called a crumb coat. Just trying to catch all those crumbs inside the cake. Okay? Get away with me here. Now the top looks kind of messy. Just gonna take your knife and you're just gonna go in like this. Real simple. See how I'm just kind of taking and dragging it across just to get like some definition on the top. See? Somewhat, okay. And then we're just gonna do this, just to straighten out. So as you can see, my knife is doing a pretty decent job. I'm just gonna show you like what this tool will actually do if you get yourself one. Look at that. Sometimes it's just in the tools, guys. Okay. So we're gonna pop this in the fridge for about 5 minutes, then we're gonna finish frosting it. Okay, our cake's been in the fridge for about 5 minutes, so now we're going to put a nice thick layer of frosting on it. So we're going to basically do the same thing we did already, but we're just going to add some more. And start bringing it down the sides again. Now this time there shouldn't be too many crumbs in the frosting, since we've caught all those crumbs in that crumb coat. Here, we're going to just take our knife and drag it across the ground. I mean, honestly, this is not perfection, but it's gonna get you by. And it's gonna taste amazing. So the bottom, you can kind of see is kind of, so we're just gonna take our knife and just try to fill that in. Lift the top up, just take it and drag it. Okay, now this step is optional. You can buy these pastry bags right at Walmart and get 50 of them for like $5, okay? You can get these tips on Walmart, Amazon, or probably Walmart has them too, but these are a little bit bigger. I'm just gonna show you something really quick. So you gotta fit your tip into the bag. So you wanna cut that much off to be able to get your tip into the bag. So you just put it in just like that, and that's not gonna go anywhere. Good way to learn how to fill this up without trying to hold it is get a cup, kind of fold this down a smidge, and then just fill it up. We won't need a ton, we're just doing a few tiny little decorations. Fill it up like this. It's kind of can be a messy job. It's fun. Squeeze it down. A few little dollops up here. Quick. This covers up a bunch of mess. Okay, that part's done. We're gonna take some sprinkles, whatever kind you want. I don't really like this one, but that's okay. Whatever color you want. Since this is an orange cake, I'm gonna do orange sprinkles. And a green cake. We have the sprinkles on. So now, just for a quick little decoration on the bottom, we're gonna go around the bottom to make sure that that's all covered well. And then we're just gonna carry our knife up, and then just to make a little, covers up a lot of mistakes. Not a professional cake, guys, but it'll get you through to a birthday party, and your family's gonna love it. So we're gonna cut it. So you can see how delicious this cake is gonna look. There you go, box cake. Hope you enjoy it.